That's going to be going with some steamed fish, no, with some pan sauteed fish. The plantain's already done. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. My name is Melissa Ingrid Lawrence, and my channel, as well as all the content that is associated with my channel, has to do with helping people manifest their highest self and their dream life. And the way that I personally help people do that is through self love and vision clarity mentorship. And so, part of myself getting to my highest self as well is feeding myself really good, really healthy foods. Hey, welcome to the live. Welcome in. And so, hence the live. During this part of the day, or just I know something that I'm doing every single day for the most part is cooking. And so, I decided to start doing my live segments while I do that. So, we're gonna cook, I'm gonna cook, and we're gonna talk. And so, the first thing that I'm gonna do, as I said, the plantain is finished. I am going to add some oil to my pot.
What you gonna do?
Add oil to this pot.
All of our butter.
Okay, okay, okay. And so I'm gonna grab. I had to run off camera real quick. Grab some butter. That's gonna go down as a base, as well as some olive oil with my fish. And so I am going to add that to the pan right now. During these segments, as I cook, I share just different thoughts and ideas that occurred to me that day that helped me become better, and so I share it with you here. Alright, this pot. Gonna let this cook down a bit. Hi, what's up? Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. For those who just know, I'm not baking, I'm actually cooking. I am making steamed fish and pound plantain. And so the plantain was already boiled. What I'm doing now is I am getting my pan ready for the fish. And so, introducing myself, my name is Melissa Ingrid Lawrence, and welcome to my channel. I am on a journey to manifesting my highest self, the version that God had envisioned before I was in my mother's womb. And as I continue to ascend, what I do is I help people walk through the journey as well. That's the reason why I like to call what I do mentorship as opposed to coaching. Coaching makes it seem as if they're outside of the game, looking in and just kind of telling you what to do. The cool thing about mentorship is that I recognize that becoming my highest self is a process. And so as I master certain things, then I reach back and help somebody else master the same thing. And so I got right now I'm making steamed fish, steamed Grenadian fish for the record. I brought it back from Grenada the last time that I was there. I'll let you see it. I'm gonna grab the fish. You guys, oh my goodness. This is the fish here. Marinated. We've got some blended herb seasoning, something similar to like a sofrito. We've got some adobo, we've got some sazon, and some other spices to help it become alive. Thank you, James. Um, Let me see. Hope you appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm gonna add the fish now. No, actually, I'm gonna saute.
You put the butter?
Yes. All right. There we go. I'm just gonna add. This is it. Look at it. Look at it. Hey, what's up? How you doing? We're cooking on live. Got my aunt in the chat on Facebook. Hello, hello, Aunt Judy. Hi, Judy. I don't think they can see you. So I got this fish the last time that I was in Grenada. Very delicious. I seasoned it with some sofrito and an herbal blend similar to like that's what a sofrito is, an herbal blend. And then now I'm adding the fish. Gonna let this fish cook a little bit. Let me see.
This is the herbal blend.
This is the herbal blend, what I was talking about a second ago. It's a mixture of different spices and herbs. Like, you know, you got some cilantro in there. You have some, have some celery, onions, peppers. It's a mixture of a bunch of different things. And so I've got the fish over here sauteing. Where's everybody checking in? Where's everybody, you know, joining in from? Comment below in the chat where you're joining from. So it's doing its thing over there. Hello, what's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing? Over here, I am making some fish that I got from Grenada the last time that I was there. I got 10 pounds of a couple different kinds, and not 10 pounds. I got 10 pounds in total, but I got a couple pounds that add up. I got 4 different types of fish. We're gonna put it like that. I will be honest, I don't know the name of the fish, but if you saw it earlier, it was red and it was beautiful. And so the sauce was just added to the pan so that it can saute. Alright, so I'm just gonna put this lid on top and make sure that it's over there doing its thing. Hey Jimmy, welcome back to the live. Jimmy, this is like your 3rd time here. I'm really glad to see you again. What I am doing right now is, as I said, the fish is sauteing. Jimmy, you're new to what's going on here in this chat. I am okay.
So the fish is cooking.
Look at it right there, and oh my gosh, it smells so
Whole
good.
fish.
It's whole fish. And so, usually on these lives, I cook or I eat and we talk about a topic. And so, the topic that I wanted to talk about today.
Whole fish with the head on.
Yeah. So, the topic that I wanted to talk on tonight, great cooking is 10 times better than eating out. 100%. 1, it's better than eating out. And 2, since leaving Grenada, something for you to keep in mind, because I know that you just moved there. Your stomach might not be able to handle the processed nature of a lot of the food that you're going to get back in the States. And so we've got an herbal blend. It has, you know, celery, peppers, cilantro, a bunch of different spices mixed up in here together, and herbs. And then as far as the fish here cooking, we've got adobo, sazon, you know, we got the whole gambit. We've also got some garlic, just different things like that. And so the topic that I wanted to talk on today is the courage to be disliked. This is a part of a series that I'm doing talking about manifesting your highest self. And so with that, being your highest self, it's going to put you in a position where you're going to have to recognize those tendencies within yourself that aren't helping you get to where you need to go. And something that I worked through recently, and you might be dealing with as well, is the fact that in becoming your highest self, you cannot also be a people pleaser at the same time. And so for me, there's a longer video about it on my YouTube channel. It's called Stop People Pleasing, God is Your Provider. And so in that video, I talk about the fact that at one point in my life, and something that I recently navigated through, was this deep desire to be liked. And especially talking a little bit about my background, talking a bit more about my background, I grew up in the inner city. And as a result, being in a position where you don't have access to resources, it can put you in it can put you in a frame of mind where, hey, what's up, welcome to the live. It can, growing up in a situation where you don't have access to resources readily, put you in a frame of mind where you feel as if you have to be liked in order to get ahead. And because there's people in positions, gatekeeping in positions, it makes you feel as if you have to be liked in order to get ahead. And so, understanding that the real secret to doing what it is that you desire is fully stepping in as your highest self. Let me check on this fish. You can go ahead. Okay. So, realizing and just keeping in mind that where that people pleasing nature is coming from can really help you understand why you might have trouble with having the courage to be disliked. And so the next thing is telling the truth and why you might not be telling the truth in your life. As I said, for me, one of the reasons was because in a way I had a mental block and or a disruption in belief, right? Where I believed that the person that was sending resources my way was the resource. A cool thing that God really showed me is that no person will ever be my source. God is my source. There is just a medium through which I'm receiving provision. My mom is helping me out with this. Oh my goodness. I want you guys to see this. Look at this. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. And so being in a position where you feel as if whether or not somebody else likes you can affect your access to resources, it can make you more likely to, one, people please, as I said a second ago, but two, to be more willing to bend the truth or adjust the way that you might think or feel when it comes to acting on what that gut impulse is. All right, so my mom is adding some turmeric to the fish right now. She's definitely becoming she's definitely a big helper, because talking and cooking at the same time is something that, putting in some peppers, onions, and garlic. And so that was one of the points that was just on my mind this morning and that I wanted to talk about. And becoming your highest self requires courage. Earlier in the title, it says having the courage to be disliked, and focusing in on that word courage, because being disliked requires a certain level of faith in your ability to be able to bounce back regardless of what the situation unfolds into or regardless of what the results are. And so, two characters that come to mind that helps illustrate this. One is a character in the show One Piece. If you watched the live before, I was talking about it again. I feel like it's a really good way to view how certain actions can affect the way that you move through life. And so I believe that watching shows like One Piece has the same effect as reading the Bible, right? And what I mean by that is I personally don't see the Bible as a book that is just kind of telling you what to do. No. For me, the Bible allows you to be able to take a wide lens view and to be able to see how certain belief patterns, to see how certain actions, and just to see how overall mindsets can affect the results that you get long term as an individual. And so it allows you to be able to put your thinking cap on and to see, based on the outcomes that the characters get, which person in the story you desire to be. Same thing with One Piece. It allows you to be able to zoom out and to be able to view how certain people's personalities, how they move not only with themselves but how they move with others, affects how the results that they get, and reflects how they're overall viewed from not only from themselves but through other characters. And so the character that I wanted to mention is one by the name of Usopp. If you watch the show, then you know who I'm talking about. He is known as the great liar in the show. And the reason why he is considered to be a liar is because he tries to bolster himself up in the moment with things that he honestly doesn't even truly believe, because when you start to press him on it, then he starts to, shake and fumble. And so when it comes to Usopp, as a character, he's a liar because he doesn't truly believe in his ability to be able to make things shake, or he doesn't believe in his ability to be able to get through the situation in the moment. And so, because his mindset operates like that, he is a character who is very apprehensive about standing up for what he believes. He's willing to say or do anything in the moment in order to be able to feel safe. And I'm sure some of you, as I'm talking about them, can resonate with some of these things, right? And so, whereas you have the contrast of the character Luffy, right? He is somebody who is going to say what he wants to say, regardless of who's watching, regardless of who's hearing, regardless of the strength of the other person that he's talking to. And so, juxtaposing those two characters, one of the reasons why Luffy is so confident in what it is that he desires, the reason why he's able to go after it with full force, is because he developed himself to the point where, regardless of what he says, he can stand 10 toes down on it, regardless of what the person on the other side believes about it. And just comparing those two characters, lying, Luffy is somebody who is known for being an honest person. Like, he is a truth teller. He would tell you what he believes regardless of what you think or what you feel, and it's because he has the fist to be able to back it up too, right? And so that's something that was on my mind. Another example that I could use is a biblical one, right? We're putting fresh tomatoes inside of the fish.
And the reason why you put in the fresh tomatoes is because you're not going to put water. The tomato going to make its own juice.
There you go. That's something that my mom likes to call cooking close to the pan. When you use the natural water that exists in the ingredients to be able to add, the liquid to the meal. There you go. There you go. I'm gonna add these tomatoes inside of here. All right. And then we have another character. This one is a biblical reference. Abraham, right? Having the courage to be disliked. When we first meet Abraham, we learn that he is in his family's village. He's in the land that his family developed, and he has a thought in his head and a feeling in his heart, and he follows it. What that impulse is him being told to leave where he is to go to a place that will be revealed to him. Go to a place that I will tell you about, right? And so when I sit back and when I think about the Bible, I don't just read the Bible. It kind of plays in my head like a movie. And in that moment, especially when I was thinking about having the courage to be disliked, he was in a land that his family had prepared for him, a generational estate. And considering that when he left, he not only left with his wife, but he left with his nephew, and he left with his caravan. He left with a group of people. And considering that he was in a position of authority, he got that thought in his head and a feeling in his heart, and he decided to follow it, right? I can't imagine that everybody on that trip was excited about him just jumping out on faith, right? And so having the courage to be disliked allows you to have more separation.
A little bit of real butter.
Yeah, and then we're adding some butter.
Real butter. Real butter.
Okay, real butter. And so, going back to the character that I was speaking about, Abraham, leaving his family and going to another location, as I was saying a second ago, isn't something that everybody would be jazzed about. Think about it. When you're in the land that your family has prepared, you have comfort, you have safety, you have just an overall sense of community. So he decided to break away from his community to follow what his gut was telling him. And if you've read the Bible, you know how amazing it turned out for not only him, but for his descendants. And so another thing is that when you make a decision to be aligned with your highest self, it's not always going to rub everybody that comes into contact with you the right way. But the beautiful thing about it is that while some people are going to hate you, like really, really hate you, there's going to be people that really, really love you. And when it comes to being a people pleaser, yes, a lot of people around you seem to like you, but it's only because they like who you're being for them. They don't like who you are at your core. Earlier, I was talking about the plantain. This is the boiled plantain that I have to the side.
That's one in the skin after it's
One,
one out of the skin.
there we go. I'm sure you heard that. This one is the one that is still inside the skin. This one was the one that was removed from the skin. It's going to be pound down, and then salt and garlic is going to be added to it. And so my mom is doing an amazing job helping me cook while I talk. And so, like I was saying a second ago, making an internal decision to become your highest self requires a level of courage, because choosing yourself is not something everybody around you is going to be excited about. You know, I pray that everybody has at least one or two people that is going to champion them and be alongside them as they come into a full understanding and a deeper level of trust within themselves on what their path is, right? And for anybody who is struggling in that realm, I offer personal mentorship where I help people manifest their highest self in their dream life through self-love and vision clarity mentoring. That's what I offer to be able to help people along that journey. And so when it comes to what I was talking about just a second ago, you're going to get a group of people that are going to hate your guts, but you're going to get another group of people that are going to love who you are so deeply that they're not only going to champion you for what it is that you decide to do, but they're going to be willing to invest their time, their talents, and their treasure, right? And so showing up who you are authentically is the key to accessing everything else that you want in life, because God is only going to bless who you are, not who you're pretending to be, right? And so when it comes to that, knowing who that highest version is, tapping into that and going after that full force puts you in a position where you're showing up who God authentically created you to be. And so there are going to be some people who vibe with it, there are going to be some people who don't vibe with it, right? And so the thing to keep in mind is that those people who are turned off by who God created you to be were not meant to be the people who are supposed to be on the journey with you. No, not yet. I don't see you. Yeah, I see you now.
Moderator.
Cool. Did not realize that I needed a moderator until yesterday, for the record. And so I'm glad to have somebody help me as I talk. And so the courage to be disliked also requires a deep sense of self-love. And I'm not necessarily talking about facials or, going to get your feet done or get your nails done, or, what's a man equivalent? Getting your hair cut or something like that. Yes, those end up being outward expressions of the love that you've cultivated on the inside. And so naturally, if you love yourself, you're going to want to take care of yourself. But at times, people, or I know I've even been guilty of this at times, focusing on the outward appearance in order to make. Okay. Yeah. So got distracted for a second. And so just going back over it, just self-love and everything like that. What I was saying a second ago, God blesses who you are, not who you're pretending to be. And so acknowledging the journey that you're on and what led you up until this point is something that's necessary to cultivate self-love. I know something cool that I am practicing myself that I'd like to share with you, if you'd like to do it as well, is practicing giving myself the 5 love languages, because it's difficult to want somebody to give something that you're not prepared to give yourself first. And so that, tying it back to having the courage to be disliked, knowing that you love yourself, knowing that you're willing to stand by you and your decisions regardless of what the outcomes are, creates a level of confidence, right? Because even if things don't go the way that you anticipated, you trust what the Bible says, which is that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purposes, right? So having knowledge of who you are and whose you are helps, because self-love gets you there to having the confidence in who you are and whose you are. And so something that I wanted to mention as well is that having self-love allows you to have self-confidence. But it doesn't stop there either, because having self-confidence can take you, I'd say 90% of, I'd say maybe like
Oh,
50% of.
done.
All right. So this is the final
Don't
result.
touch it.
This is the final result. I know I'm a little, I know I'm more than a little hungry doing all this talking. And so, having, like I was saying a second ago, having self confidence is something that really allows you to be able to walk in your truth and to be able to trust what those impulses are, regardless of how those around you might feel about it. And, but it doesn't stop there, because your ability to rest easy at night, not only knowing that you have your back, but knowing that you have a Father in heaven that has your back as well. A Father that loved you enough that he decided to send his Spirit to dwell within you. A Father that gave you the level of power over your surroundings that he does, right? And so understanding that even if things don't go the way that you anticipated, that you have a God that's going to make things work for your good and for his glory regardless. So the way that it's allowed me to be able to move is that I have this deep sense of peace, understanding that even when on the surface or on the paper it may look like I lost, I cannot lose. It's either I win the first time or I win the 999th time, because I'm going to keep coming back at it until I win. And so, at this point, I'm going to read some of these comments. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Let me see. Let me see. Great cooking is better than eating out. I 100% agree. What spices did you add? I talked about that. I was just analyzing this. In astrology, it's an analogy called Chiron. It deals with turning pain and rejection into strength and power. Well, I'm always interested in learning something new, and so you could definitely comment more about that. And then the Greens era, I'm thinking about balance. Just like we are able to make friends, it's also important to have the courage to make enemies as well. Am I connecting? You absolutely are. That's what I'm talking about, right? And if you want to see a visual representation of what that looks like, I would say check out One Piece, right? Because that main character that I was talking about, Luffy, he is a prime example about what it looks like visually to have the courage to stand 10 toes down on what it is that you believe, regardless.
Add the onion to the pot
All right.
to make the mango, make the thing.
So my mom's helping me out with the cooking, and so yeah, I am going to follow up back on what you were talking about, right? The character that I was describing, you will taking on that mindset and just having that overall peace and understanding of who you were created to be and living that out fully, living that out authentically, allows you to be able to rest easy. Understanding that those who call you their enemies, it's because they were not meant to rock with you regardless. They were not meant to go where God is taking you. And so I did not intend for this to be a super long live. And so I did read the comments that I saw and everything. Thank you so much for joining this live. Peace. I'm okay. So, were there any more comments, questions, anything like that? We do still have a bit more time. Okay. All right, I got these mosquitoes biting me. I'm just gonna hop off camera for a bit just for my legs down. Huh? All right, I'm back. This time of the year, I really, really, really did expect for all of these mosquitoes to die, and it's just, they hanging on for dear life. And I'm usually not a proponent of killing life, but I really, they're crazy because everybody else in the space will be okay, and then the mosquitoes will come after me. Thanks for sharing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for hopping on the live. And let me see where we are in this process, because I would love for you to see what the finished result looks like.
Just start.
All right, so we have the onion sauteed over here. I'm just gonna stir it. We'll work on this over here. If you have any more questions or comments, I'd love to
This
see.
is the garlic.
You are glowing. Thank you so much for the compliment, Andre. You're lit. And then we got some garlic
With a
that
little bit of
was.
sea salt.
There we go. Garlic and sea salt there. Thank you. I had an idea when it came to this, but I'm loving the way that my mom is tying everything together. She's a real one, very much, very helpful, and I appreciate it. There we go. Were there any more questions or comments? Thank you for the compliments. Do you have any examples of when you had the courage to be disliked, or when you allowed yourself to trust what it is that your deeper sense was telling you, what you felt as if the whisperings that the Holy Spirit had given you in order to follow a route? And you can share the story if it went well. You can also share the story if it didn't go well. I think this is I know this is a safe space. And so I also have a moderator. So if anybody gets out of control, they'll get exited from the chat. They'll get parachuted, kicked out the plane. You know what I'm saying?
Well, just tell them, give them context. Yesterday one.
Yeah, so see, helps me think. And so yesterday there was somebody just in the chat trolling, saying like wild things, And so I didn't exactly know at the time. I was not aware of how to kick people out of lives. But, every single day you live and you learn and you get better and better, So let me see. Like I was saying a second ago, oh my goodness, this literally all comes full circle, right?
Usually you put some chicken stock in there, but we don't have any chicken stock, so I mix some adobo. No, that's not adobo.
Chicken bouillon.
Yeah, chicken bouillon.
So showing up authentically as yourself, right? Me on this camera, I have a couple points that I have written down, but for the most part, I'm speaking from my heart. And so the person yesterday who felt as if the live was a great opportunity for them to be able to hop in and make disparaging comments, trolling essentially, right? I made an enemy because I decided to show up as a light. And this is something that blew my mind when Holy Spirit broke this down to me. When the Bible in Matthew talks about the fact that we are the light and that we are the salt of the earth, that we are a light, right? That what's on the menu? We are making pan-seared fish with pound plantain, and yeah, that's what's on the menu tonight. I'm sure you heard that as well. So,
just say maybe I'm talking too much. I don't know the background of my voice, so just tell them.
So, the devil is always present in God's business, exactly, right? And so, the level of anointing oftentimes by the level of attack that you receive based on spreading a message, right? And so yesterday, as I was on here talking about manifesting your highest self and your dream life, becoming the version of yourself that God envisioned before you were in your mother's womb, somebody hopped in the chat and was just making disparaging comments about, my face, or just, just different things, right? And at the end of the day, I didn't feed into it. I recognized and understood what was happening, right? Light was being shared, the message was being shared, the word was being shared, a message that would help free people from the bondage that this world has put on them, right? And so that level of attack matched the level of anointing that was present in that. And so as a second ago, I was talking about the fact that something that Holy Spirit really revealed to me within like the last year is that because you are a light, in the same way that people who want well are going to be attracted to it, people who don't want well are also going to be attracted to it. In the same way that butterflies are attracted to light is the same way that moths and flies are attracted to light, right? And so they are attracted, people who would position themselves as your enemies, they become your enemy because they see something on you, they see greatness in you, and they don't know how to be able to replicate the results for themselves. They don't know how to show up in a way that allows them to be as lit as you are. And so the only way they can see getting access to that light, the only how they can get access to that light is by trying to take it from you, which is something that they cannot do because they don't understand the time that went into becoming that light. They don't understand what they're sacrificing in order to admit the light the way that you do, but all they know is that they want their hands on it, right? And so at the end of the day, knowing who you are, knowing whose you are, and understanding that the light is something that can easily be shared if people are willing to go on the same journey as you, allows you to be able to walk with that Christ confidence, you know? And so I'm gonna hop back into the chat. Moving to Grenada without ever visiting to start a, I don't know anyone, just showed up to this country, similar to Abraham's story. You stated exactly, right? It's so going back to what I was saying a second ago, which was talking about the Bible and just the way that it's been revealed to me, right? They're not supposed to be some scriptures that are hidden behind a glass panel and, you know, magic scriptures or anything like that. It's actually presenting people, their decisions, their mindset, and the outcomes that they get. And so you can see based on the results that an individual gets whether or not you want to be them in the story based on the results that they're getting. It's the same thing for what it is that, you know, you were talking about, Chiron, right? Or Chiron. As I said, Abraham did not have a Bible to read from. The first person that was commanded to write something down was Moses. And so you have between Abraham and Moses, and nothing was written down, which means that although the scriptures are an important way for you to tap into the frequency that God is speaking on, it's not the end all be all. Hey T Danielle, what's up? Welcome to the chat. I was talking about just overall manifesting your highest self and having the courage to be disliked. What I was talking and what I was getting into was the fact that having the courage to be disliked means following your intuition regardless. And so we are at a point where the meal is done. We're plating it right now. If you wanted to see the final plate, it's happening now. And so we're just adding some fish. Yeah, so let me see what some of these comments are. It's true that some of our enemies that turns best friends most times are lasting relationships. Let me see what you're talking about. It's true that some of our enemies that turns best friends most times are the lasting relationships. Well, I can't say that that's been my experience per se, but I can see that, especially because if at first somebody presents as an enemy, it might be because they're standing in their truth, you're standing in your truth, but it just hasn't come to the point yet where you see each other enough to recognize that you're actually not enemies, that you're actually friends. So that's a possibility. Yeah.
So that's the fish.
Here's the fish.
Before, okay, this is it over here. I'm I made like a tomato stew. So it's onions, green peppers, garlic, and it's flavored with sazon, adobo, and a little bit of turmeric, and also has a fresh herb seasoning that I made.
My mom's a real one.
And it also has tomatoes in it too.
So we're plating it right now, and then I'm gonna try a bit.
Oh, I put all the fish in here. You wanna have something yourself?
Maybe.
Okay. Okay. So let me get another fish.
All right. Were there any comments, questions, anything? Expand on that, Chiron. at a point where,
I'll just put it on there and they'll just see.
okay, so my mom's helping to plate it right now. In the meantime, were there any questions, anything that you wanted me to expound on?
And this is the plantain. It's like a mashed potato, but hearty.
There we go. I'm sure you heard that.
Louis, I'm talking so. You can't assume that I heard.
There we go. We're just adding some of this pound plantain. It's it's a plantain equivalent of like a mashed potatoes.
Everybody know what plantain is.
All right. Okay. This is the final meal. It looks so good. So good. Let me see. I'm gonna grab a fork. Alright. Something that I noticed as I was marinating the fish is that this is a super bony fish. So I'm going to rest it here while I remove some of them. Because I'm sure my fresh fish
Let me show you where the
eaters.
bone is. Let me show you where the bone is.
So something that I'm sure of for my fresh fish eaters is
Let
that.
me show you where the bone is so you can go ahead and do that. I'm trying to show you something. See this side right here? Has no bone.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining the live. I've appreciated this time. Peace and enjoy the rest of your night. Bye.